And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Go ahead and say it, Ed. Go Tigers!
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
You like that? You like that?
F it. Jamar's down there somewhere.
The New Orleans Saints select Marcus Davenport.
No!
Splash Brothers. Yeah.
It's playoff. Keep going, Brace.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
What is up, y'all, and welcome to episode 3 of the Home Team Podcast. On this episode, we're going to talk some Saints and LSU football. A lot of highs and a lot of lows this weekend for sure. Tough game for the Saints. It's always a fight with the Bucs, even though it seems like we've owned them since Brady's been over there. But definitely a tough one. Whole lot to talk about in that game. LSU won a game where they were the underdog at home. I feel like if you're a betting man, it was kind of hard not to take the money line on that one.
First time they've been an underdog
for LSU.
First time they've been an underdog against Mississippi State in 22 years.
Yeah, well, we proved them wrong on that. I think a lot of positives came out of that game. Maybe a few negative things that we'll get to. But overall, I'm happy with LSU and how they're playing right now, given the way that we're currently rebuilding. This is a rebuilding year. LSU's just got so much talent that they're able to, still play some good football. So, Peyton, what were your thoughts on Saturday night's games?
Yeah, I hate I didn't get to watch it like I normally get to watch it. I was out of town in Dallas, so got to kind of watch the first half in a restaurant there. They had the game luckily on a big screen. We're sitting there in Dallas, man, and we've got like 75% LSU fans in this restaurant, so that was pretty fun. But I thought that I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting in the group message Saturday morning. I was like, I'm getting nervous about this game. Just Mississippi State's one of the most veteran return teams in the conference this year. They returned 8 starters on defense. You know what Mike Leach is going to bring on to the offensive side of the ball. Will Rogers at quarterback's been there for a few years in his system, comfortable. I guess I was a little nervous. One, obviously our offensive line. You starting 2 bookends tackles that are true freshmen. One had his first career start, really first career start / first career game really played significant time. So I was nervous on that front. Mm-hmm. I obviously the special teams still makes me nervous, and it didn't help my feelings any Saturday night. But I wasn't really feeling great about it because I was thinking, man, we got a secondary that's still fresh. Auto transfers, haven't played with each other a lot. We switched Jay Ward to nickel, Greg Brooks to safety, which was a phenomenal transition there. Jay Ward looked like an absolute All-American.
Yes, it was.
That's where he needs to be. And so I was like, man, you play a Mike Leach offense like this, it's communication and can't miss tackles. We've had kind of a tendency already early in the season miss some tackles. But man, shout out to Matt House and that defense. Just phenomenal the way they, come out early, get down, and man, House makes adjustments. Something that I haven't felt comfortable since Aranda left, who I was an enormous fan of Aranda. Matter of fact, I was kind of pulling from getting the head job a year or 2 ago.
I think everybody liked it.
Yeah.
Everybody liked him.
Absolutely. And he's kind of a sit back. He's just a junkie, watch him all the time. Smart guy, loves, helping the guys get better. And just a real thinker of the game. And Matt House, to me, is very similar to Aranda. And I guess the obvious is they're both bald. But Matt House seems like he's the same type. He doesn't take the credit that I kind of Aranda never really took credit for. He just sits back, man, and he tweaks and makes adjustments, and it's good to see. I mean, look at the second halves of the 3 games we've played this year. I mean, the defense doesn't give much at all up in the second halves. And it's very refreshing.
They really don't.
I mean, it makes me feel good, going through this year. So I was really pleased with that ball. Kyle, I know he's a freshman, and I know he's going to make mistakes. I don't know how you keep Harold Perkins off that field. Number 40 has to be on that field.
Yeah.
He pops. He's a good pass rusher. He flies to the ball. He kind of actually seems to be, even though you tell he's a good film watcher and a smart player, because he gets the spots almost before the ball is in that spots. I'm really impressed with him. And he was that guy. I mean, in high school, like he played linebacker, he played receiver, he played running back, he returned punts. I mean, he did it all. He's just an athlete, and you just can't keep him up. And I think Brian Kelly even said, I didn't get to watch all the press conferences today yet. I'm going to watch it actually later tonight. But he said that, he's hard to he said, I think we can find a niche for him in our defense. So that tells you right there, he's going to make sure he's on the field more. But to me, the defense won the game. Kyle, I think when you give Mississippi State offense, when you hold them to 3 for 14 on third downs, to me, that wins the game just right there. And also, Mike Leach is known to go for 4 downs, and they were 1 for 4 on that.
That's right. And 2, I mean, let's talk about some box score stuff. For 1, like you were saying, holding Will Rogers, holding him in check to 214 yards. He was only 24 for 42, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. They didn't really run the ball either.
No.
They had 75 yards as a team. And here was the key to victory for me. LSU protected the ball. They did not turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be honest with you.
That
hasn't been an issue. It hasn't been an issue all year. Most of our turnovers, unfortunately,
which tells you discipline.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Absolutely right.
Tells you he's running a disciplined ship, and really the way that we played against Mississippi State is a recipe that you can win with in college football. Jaden Daniels played a solid game, 22 for 37, 210, touchdown, and the big one here is that he protected the ball, no interceptions. He also, on the ground, had a heck of a game, 93 yards on 16 attempts with 1 touchdown. I realized that, he might have been overlooking some open guys, but at this point, I think it's okay to say that I'm good with a 1 read and go. He's such an athlete that I'm comfortable with him running the ball the way he does. I don't know how long he can last like that, but this current formula that we're playing with, as long as we're not playing the big dogs, Alabama, those guys, then I feel comfortable with this LSU team where it's at right now. Some of the guys that you mentioned on defense that had standout games, and you kind of called it last week when we talked about them moving in the secondary. Jay Ward, probably defensive player of the game. He had 11 total tackles, 5 solos, 1 tackle for loss, a pass defended, and a pick that he returned for 19 yards. So, heck of a game. Baskerville had 8 tackles. Harold Perkins had 5, and he had 1.5 sacks. Big time, play by a freshman. Major Burns had a good game with 5 tackles. And BJ Ojulari, how do you say his name?
Ojulari.
I don't want to. Ojulari, there you go. Thank you. You couldn't help but notice him. It seemed like he got after the quarterback. He had 1.5 sacks and 2.5 tackles for loss.
Best football player.
To me, those were the guys that kind of stood out. Yeah, he popped on, and all of those guys just kind of popped for me on the TV. But yeah, I was very happy with him. Now, I was frustrated when Leach got that first 4th and 1 deep in his own territory. I don't play poker, but that's like somebody, catching something on the river. They had no business catching and beating you.
Yeah.
That's always frustrating to me, having somebody go for it deep in their own territory and getting it. But we did a good job, and we held up when we needed to. I felt like we bent, but we wouldn't break. And it was just a good football game.
Yeah. And Jalen is, I was telling you earlier, had a guy today kind of bashing him, and I know there's videos that have leaked out to, the last couple of days where there's Jack Best is wide open down the field twice, Butte's open down the field, yada yada. And I don't want him running around as much as he's running, especially after these 2 weeks when our meat of the schedule is coming, and he's going to be taking some shots, but he's keeps us in games. He doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah,
yet to have a turnover yet this year.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you don't feel that comfortable on some of the routes he's looking at and stuff, and he can get me 7-8 yards, let him go. I mean, God, we're not going to win anything this year. We're just, our goal is to get us to 7-8 wins, get the momentum of the program, positivity going, and build it and get ready for, having next year to have more of a shot to maybe to win something. So he's your best option right now. Obviously Nuss is not ready. You don't want Walker in there. You don't want to, let's slowly develop him, getting him ready. So, I mean, you got to really play with him and ride with him. And he's going to get better. I mean, I know somebody told me yesterday, man, he's a 3-year star. He is. His coach just got fired yesterday. I mean, he's a 70-year-old coach trying to coach a 2022 offense. I'm not sure how well developed he was over there. I feel like with our coaching staff, come back to me 1st of November and let's see what kind of a quarterback he is. Because I feel like he's just, you saw on TV, Brian Kelly, he just, dude, get your shoulders, turn your shoulders, make a throw. He's an athlete playing quarterback. He's still learning the position. And let's give him some time and see what he can do, man. I think I
don't think he's playing bad football right now. Honestly, when he needs to make a play, he does. And you can't argue that. Whether or not he, hits the open guy on a few plays, whatever. But in the games when I felt like he needed to make a play, he did. Let's talk about somebody else you were right about. Malik Neighbors.
Man.
6 receptions, 76 yards. He was their leading receiver.
He's a dude, man. He's one of those that he's the guy, and he'll be, when Butte moves on after this year, he'll even show more next year when he is the main guy. I'm a big Neighbors fan. I think he has it all. He actually reminds me a lot of Justin Jefferson, in a way, the way he plays. And it is, but that's the style. That's what he plays. A good route runner, sure-handed catch. I know people want to, bring back up the muff punts in Florida State, but he don't drop anyone he's playing receiver. And I really think he's got that quick twitch in it about him. And I hope we really get him more and more involved as the season goes on.
So Kayshawn, did he skip out on spring training?
No.
He didn't? Okay.
He played.
I heard something on the radio about not being there for spring.
No, you mean fall camp, or are you talking about spring ball?
I don't know. The guys on the radio said spring.
Yeah, no, he didn't play in the spring. He didn't play.
Okay.
He didn't do any spring practices or
Why
spring games.
was that?
He was hurt from the past injury. He got
Why
knocked
was
out.
that? He was hurt.
Yeah, he was nicked up still. He wasn't 100%, so they didn't want to rush him back. So that's why he did not play.
Well, and the reason I asked about that is maybe that's part of maybe it's a chemistry thing,
They don't seem to have.
Maybe him and Dan just have to get it right. Definitely not. And I mean, in spite of talent, sometimes quarterbacks just don't have chemistry with certain guys.
Yeah.
I think they eventually find it when they have, great talent, but sometimes it does take a little while to develop.
Yeah, I mean, and that, it's a good point because, I mean, he had neighbors. He had Brian Thomas, who he's really comfortable with, and he had those two in spring. And Jack Besh, I really hope we get I feel like he's another weapon that we got to get more involved. Granted, I know there were two plays that I saw Besh was wide open that he just missed on, but I feel like he's got. I want to say 12. It was either 11. No, hold on. Let me make sure I get this right. I think it was 11 or 12 different receivers touched the ball Saturday night with running back and receivers. So, I mean, he's getting the ball out and getting it around. But, man, somehow you're going to have to find Booty. He's going to have to – and, hey, run a jet sweep early in the game. Maybe that'll help get him going a little more. Give him a little wide receiver screen of some sort. Something to get him involved more. I mean, the guy was catching touchdowns after touchdowns last year. You got to get him. Yeah. You got to get him going somehow. I mean, I hate to just draw plays up right out the gate, being of a game, nothing for one guy, but he's a first round kind of talent, man. You need to see where you can do with him to get him to make plays for you. But
put him in space and let him cook.
Yeah. If you can't, Neighbors I promise you will take care of us. If not.
Yeah, and I think we'll be fine. I've kind of tempered my expectations for this year, and
that's right.
Honestly, so far, LSU's exceeded my expectations. I didn't really expect too much out of them this year, so I can't complain. I'm happy with the other night's games, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go from here.
Yeah, the only negative side that I keep seeing over and over is special teams have not really gotten better. Clayton catches a ball inside, right at the 5-yard line, and I want to bring that up because I was at the Cowboys-Bengals game yesterday, and Tech boy Trent Taylor did this close in the fourth quarter. He caught one at the 5. Right about out of bounds. And I feel like, Kyle, when we were growing up, it was like the freaking number one rule. Do never catch a ball punt inside the 10-yard line. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, it was don't even catch one inside the 20. But every Sunday or Saturday and Sunday, I'm watching guys catch balls that are inside the 10. I mean, Clayton, you can't are they just losing where they're at on the field? Are these punters booting it a little further than they think, and they start backpedaling and kind of forget where they're at? I mean, God, it's unbelievable how many you see get caught.
I don't think so. They might be looking at statistics and just playing the numbers. I mean, that may be something that maybe over time they figured out was a bad way to go about it. Maybe that, they have a better shot at more yards if they go ahead and field it and, let them do what they do. I don't know. I have noticed that. I noticed it in the pros too.
Yes.
Even some fair catches, I get if you fair catch it at like the 9 or the 8, but like, I don't want you getting back towards the 5-yard line and fair catching it. Like, take a chance at letting it bounce. But, even some fair catches inside the 10 I've seen. So, I don't know. At least we didn't muff anything.
No, we didn't muff.
Right?
Yeah, hey, and can I tell you what? That play Emory Jones made on that tackle to save that pretty much probably a punt return was the most impressive thing I saw all weekend. That's a 335-pound offensive tackle, a freshman, against a skilled position player in the SEC. I mean, he makes that tackle in open space like that. That was phenomenal, man. Somebody made a part of my gosh, why is he
that returner's going to get ridden and film studied by his teammates on that one.
Oh, absolutely he is. Ain't no doubt, man. And that one right there for Emory, he's hoping his coaches play that for him all year long. Like that was an unbelievable play. And to go off of what you were just saying earlier about coaching and culture and stuff, that play and tackle that Converse made to save that 88 yards punt return. Granted, I know it was a holding and it was going to get called back, but he was 40 yards or so trailing behind him, and for a fifth-year senior, that is not going to be down there for the future when we're going to be rolling and good. He's here 1 year, about 1 year left, and a senior like that making that kind of effort and play to stop that is all I need to know about the culture down there now. You can just tell it's changed and what we've been going through in the last, I don't know, 15 years with the two clowns we've had at coaches.
That's right. And did you see the speed that the punter showed off to make his tackle?
Yes.
To save a touchdown.
Yes.
Good Lord. Is it Brambley?
Yes.
I don't. Dude, he was flying. I mean, that was highlight work. I think if I was that guy, I would save that video on my highlight reel. For sure.
Yeah. Hey, no doubt.
Punters are athletes too.
Punters are athletes too. He had that one shank in the Florida State game. Other than that, he has had a very good season. And hey, give a shout out to Roy, the long snapper. I mean, that's every long snapper's dream right there to make the perfect snap, run down there, and fall on the muff punt. I mean, that is all. Yeah. That's an every man's dream play right there for him. So there was definitely some good in the special teams, but there was still some bad. LSU has always been known.
We got to tackle.
Even on the 19 team, they have always been known to play their best players and stars on special teams. And we're not doing that this year. I know we got a new coaching staff. And hey, it might be because we're not real deep right now. We're trying to build the roster back up. They just don't want to take a chance of losing a Mike Jones or a Jay Ward on special teams. But them dudes are athletes.
That's what I was going to say. I think it comes down to depth because you just don't, you can't, you got a lot to lose when one goes down. And their special teams play kind of reminds me of like when some of your smaller schools, fudge on special teams.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it feels like. But it is what it is. We got to get better in that facet of the game because it can burn you.
Yeah, and I'm afraid if it doesn't start showing some improvements, it's almost pretty much burned us. Obviously, in the Florida State game, I'm afraid it's going to burn us again down the road if the improvements don't happen.
Yeah, and it might, and that'll be part of the rebuild. Building up enough depth that you can, have some of your solid players out there on special teams. Yeah, somebody texted in the group text, worst tackling special teams in the nation, LSU.
I didn't see that. I mean, it's true. And I wouldn't be surprised if probably not this week, but next week, for the Auburn game, if you don't start seeing maybe some some of the starters more on special teams because I feel like I don't feel like Brian Kelly's going to allow himself to see that much more. He's going to have to make some adjustments for him. I mean, because I'm tired of watching missed tackles.
Yeah.
We have way too many good athletes on that roster not to be able to make some stops at special team.
Yeah. Yeah.
One more
that
player.
Definitely was the one part of the game. Yeah.
One more player I want to give some props to, and I think he's going to really help us finish out this season strong is John Emery being back finally. He has a little different gear than any other running back we have. I really like him and Goodwin together. That's a good 1-2 punch, man. I feel like Emery's gonna get more comfortable. Hopefully he'll kind of finish knocking the rest off this coming up week and then be ready for conference play starting back next week. And I think he could be real big for us for sure and help Jalen out a lot. I think we start running the ball more. Maybe we can do a little more play action for Daniel, maybe kind of slow things down for him and be able to make some throws down the field. But I'm really ready to see Emery, especially some catches out in the flat. I'm ready to see. We'll just get the ball in his hand and let him be the player that he is.
One more thing before we move on to the Saints game, but how about those freshman tackles showing up and playing a better ball this week?
I mean, when you grade out, you got 2 true freshmen at both tackles positions, and they grade out as number 1 and number 4 overall in the SEC this past weekend. That's saying a lot right there. And
rock on with that.
And I really like Frazier at that guard position too. Frazier and Dellinger at the 2 guard positions. I think that's where that's a good spot for him. I feel like Brad Davis, the O-line coach, is finally starting to, I think, get it where he thinks that, he can at least manage us through the rest of the season and bring a couple more in. Because, hey, there's 2 more freshmen down there on the line that they like a lot. Bo Borderline, true freshman. His dad was a great one for LSU back in the day. They're waiting on him to get some more size on him. If he had the size as Campbell and Emory Jones does right now, it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't playing already by now. And also Fitzgerald West, who's another freshman lineman that they're big on that at the center position too. So the offensive line's looking pretty bright for sure in the next few years.
Yeah, no doubt. They're going to be a monster in about 3 years. And I hope they all stick around for it because I think they really have a shot at being special here, 2 years out. So, but, yeah, man, I'm happy. Let's see what next week holds and we'll watch the game this weekend and be ready to talk about it on Monday.
Yeah. Won't get to see it probably a lot.
Next on the schedule?
New Mexico State. So you're not going to obviously get a lot from this coming up week. Probably going to get, you're playing a team like New Mexico. I mean, it's obviously going to be maybe not to the
good tune-up for us.
Yeah, it's a good tune-up to get for conference start. Because let me tell you, after New Mexico, you go at Auburn.
It's on.
You go Tennessee. It's on after that. So this will be our last weekend to make tweaks. Let them maybe make another adjustment here and there in the line, starting lineup of whatnot. But I think you'll be. I think by next week, I think we'll have where everybody we want them at and see what SEC play holds for us, man. I'm pumped about it.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun season. So, with the Saints, Peyton, you're a manager at your job. I think sometimes, when you're trying to give constructive criticism, it's best delivered in a compliment sandwich where you have you open with something good, then you hit him with the bad stuff, and then you finish on something good.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to try to do with these Saints, just so I can stay positive. But I'm not freaking out. It's still September. Only 2
September,
weeks.
guys. It's September. We're in week
That's right.
2.
But, my biggest thing is I have a lot of questions about this team that I was kind of anxious about all offseason, And unfortunately for me and, the Houdat Nation, those questions have yet to be answered. So let's start off talking about, obviously, Saints lost 20-10. If you watched the game, some things that stood out to you were probably the defensive play of both teams in the first 3 quarters. Maybe the lack of offense stood out to you, half empty, half full, however you want to look at it. Then we had a brawl. We had a UFC match, courtesy of Mike Evans out on the sideline. And then everything unraveled, followed by some officiating woes for sure that, what do you know, didn't go the Saints' way. Big surprise there. But I do want to start off talking about the Saints' defense. First of all, they played well. Defense only gave up 13 points against Tom Brady and the Bucs, and I would argue without the old Zebra's help, I don't think they would have given up that much. Fournette was held in check the entire game. He averaged 2.7 yards a rush. Tom Brady, for the most part, was ineffective. I mean, he don't break tablets for no reason. Of course, they had some injuries at receiver that probably led to some of that frustration by TB12. Scott Miller was having to carry some load on offense, which, he's a young guy, small, quick, kind of more niche receiver. And unfortunately for Brady, he was having to feed him a lot of targets, which, he's more of a gadget guy than anything, not somebody that you want to depend upon to run your offense through. The D tackles looked great again, especially against the run. We kind of got beat up by Atlanta up the middle. Shot Tuttle came back and had a good game. We did create one turnover, which was okay, Cam Jordan, he played okay, but he's still, I just don't feel like he's getting the pressure at quarterback. A lot of that can be that, we're not getting pressure from the other side either. Saints pass rush has just been ineffective over 2 weeks. Can that pick up? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But overall, I think the defense played a heck of a game, especially considering that they didn't have a whole lot of help from the offense. And as a defender, I mean, it is tough, extremely tough to go out there, fight off the GOAT, basically, come to the sidelines, try to catch a break, only to be called out, in 3 plays. Here we go again. So shout out to the defense. That is a championship caliber defense. The defense can take us far if we can figure some things out. Shot Tuttle, like I said, nine tackles. He even had a pass deflection. He had a half of a sack. Pete Werner has played well. He'll probably be our leading tackler at the end of the year if he keeps this up. He had 8 tackles and 1 pass deflection. That's another thing about Werner is he kind of plays like a strong safety out there. I've said that multiple times on the pod, but he's kind of slight for a linebacker, and he does a good job of covering the backs out of the backfield. Demario Davis played a little better, 6 tackles for him. He was a little more involved. He also had a pass deflection. Bradley Roby wasn't bad. Tyron wasn't bad. Marcus May, I'm happy with his play so far. I felt like Marshawn was having a pretty good game until the ejection. Other than that, I really don't have a whole lot of complaints other than Marshawn getting ejected, which, Peyton, did you see that go down?
Yes. So
the ejection.
Yes, I'm sitting there in front of the crap. I don't know how big of a screen it was. They had set up and they had the Saints game on, which I'm sitting there, I'm watching it muted. So I don't hear any commentating or what's going on or whatnot. But Brady looks like you know what, because he's the one that talked a little there, got it stirred up, and he stood back there and just watched the fight happen, didn't do anything about it. What was the reasoning behind Fournette getting nothing?
No good reason. Basically, I think Marshawn responded to Brady. Fournette came over there. Marshawn bumped him accidentally. So Fournette hits him. And then after Fournette hits him, they tie into it, and Mike Evans comes flying from the side. Mike Evans wasn't even there. But, of course, he sees Marshawn, who has his back to him at the time, and nails him, puts him on the ground. And after that, it was a brawl. But, you had Bruce Arians on the sideline, jawing. He don't even work there anymore, basically. It was a crap show. And for the officials to handle it that way, I don't know if they review those. I would think they do. I think they probably look at them upstairs and they kind of sort out like who needs to be ejected and who doesn't. You can't eject Lattimore there. And I would argue, Peyton, that Mike Evans was the MVP of the game for really getting that thing and escalating it to the point where they pulled Lattimore out the game. Now, Evans wasn't having a terrible game, but for the most part, Lattimore was keeping him in check. But definitely the best thing he did all day was to take Lattimore with him.
Well, you're already down Paulson Adebo. So you're down 2 starting corners after that.
That's right. And right after that is where we unraveled. So you have that, and then at that point it's 3-3. Right after that, then you get Mark Ingram fumble. He's had 2 on the year. That sucks, but really, man, the defense made stops, but the officials extended drives. One was on a phantom hit that he whiffed on. I think it was Roby. Whiffed on a guy and got hit with, I think, unnecessary roughness call and didn't even hit the player. He might have, bumped him as he went by.
Well,
but just a total phantom call. That extended the drive. Go ahead.
I'm going to play both sides here, okay? Roby, for what I can tell, was in the wrong in a way as he lowered his head. They do tell you your crown of your helmet should not be facing the player. You shouldn't be. It should be up, face mask up. So in a way, I will defend him on that. But how in the world did he have a personal foul penalty when he was past the receiver? It's not like they collided. He hit him so little that he was able to still get by the receiver and not that made zero sense to me.
Yeah, he was trying to get his head out in front. You're taught when you tackle to get your head out in front of the runner, of the ball carrier, and your body will follow. Now your head is supposed to be up, but he whiffed. He missed.
Yeah, he missed. And also when he went down, when I was watching in slow motion, when he went down to make the tackle, the receiver lowered his head after the fact. So what are you supposed to do? With that position there. The receiver was somewhat falling down already.
Patty cake.
Yeah. What? This is ridiculous.
There's no way that call gets called on anyone else in any other situation. It's just it was a Saints. Let's give the Bucs the benefit of the doubt here. The Saints are not the NFL's darling. It's been known for a while. And then right after that, then you have the call on Cam Jordan, which it wasn't Cam, it was Shy Tuttle, where Fournette
Please explain
go on a route. He goes on a route and he chips Shot Tuttle at defensive tackle, and then takes a fall, like fakes a fall basically, and they hit him with defensive holding, which that extended the drive further.
Tell me the last time you've seen that call.
Yeah, I don't know how you get defensive holding when the running back initiates contact and chips you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't get his arms around him. He just hit him. They got kind of tangled up because, I mean, that's what happens when bodies fly. And Fournette fell to the ground, and they were like, yeah, that's enough for me. I think I'll go ahead and throw that flag. And then you know, I believe that's where we got the Tom Brady touchdown pass. But the defense was completely demoralized by, you know, getting the opportunity to get Tampa Bay off the field a couple of times and then just having the rug pulled out from underneath them. It was in. The fix was in. I felt like the Zebras smelled the blood in the water and took it upon themselves to kind of affect the flow of the game in favor of the Bucs. And even the guys who are tired of Saints fans complaining, like Sean Fox and your boy that you listen to on your podcast,
Jordy Collada?
Peyton, I forget his name. Yeah. No, Jordy Collada, no, the guy I used to work with. The Saints guy. He does just Saints in Baton Rouge. But anyways, he even, you know, he was like, that was some of the worst officiating I've ever seen in my life. So, but with that being said, that didn't lose us the game, Peyton. It really didn't. What happened after that was a complete and total meltdown at the quarterback position. Mostly, I think Jameis has to take the blame for that. At that part of the game. Before that, we can address some of the offensive woes, but after that, Jameis just was trying to force balls places they didn't need to go. You know, that pick six was terrible. The one that he had Mike Thomas open on a drag route across the middle, and he tried to force it to the left side, and ended up getting picked. That was terrible. The deep ball he threw, I will argue this till I'm blue in the face, but it's not a good ball. Just wasn't a good ball. You don't just throw a deep ball for the heck of throwing a deep ball. Ball needs to get out a little earlier, or it needs to go somewhere else. Yes, I'm impressed that he's got a cannon, but it doesn't. What good does it do if you throw it 60 yards if you throw it to the other team? So it's hard for me. Let me focus here, and I've got some notes. So. Here's what lost us the game, Peyton, in my opinion. 5 turnovers. Okay? You can't win a game turning the ball over 5 times.
Hey,
3 picks, 2 fumbles.
Let me ask you right quick, because obviously I watched the game to get to watch it all like I wanted to, miss some things. Who fumbled at the other one? I know Mark Ingram had 1 fumble.
Oh, Olave. That was another weird one, Peyton. Ground cannot cause a fumble, right?
Right.
Unless, apparently, unless, and I've never seen this before, you're not down by contact. So Olave went to the ground, basically trying to complete the catch. And any other time I've seen a play like that, they call it incomplete because he hasn't completed a football move, and he basically didn't have control of his body yet. So it's always been called incomplete, but the refs felt the need to call a fumble on that. So he wasn't touched when he went to the ground and fumbled. The ground definitely dislodged the ball and caused him to fumble. Yeah, I don't know. That was bizarre. But he turned it over. What's his name? Ingram had a bad fumble on a key up point.
Then
James had
2 in 2 weeks
picks.
for Ingram. Very unusual.
Yeah, and that ball was punched out too. It was.
Yeah, it was a heck of a play by the defense.
Yeah, it was a solid play on the defense, and I think I'm not too worried about that. But let's kind of talk about before that. 3 points in 3 quarters is bad. bad football. Jameis had a rough game. His Pro Football Focus rating this week was the worst on the offensive team, or on the offense for the Saints, with like a 40-something rating. So it felt like Peyton. It felt like they were dinking and dunking ineffectively at first. So kind of that, like, it's basically a running play, but we're throwing it for the heck of throwing it, but we're not getting first downs. Then all of a sudden, when Jameis felt the need to turn it on, now we're just trying to hit the deep ball. Chris Olave had 13 total targets. By comparison, Mike Thomas had 9 and Jarvis had 5. So he was trying to connect with Olave deep, which isn't the worst thing in the world, because I would love to see them develop chemistry and to have that as a legitimate threat and weapon. But it wasn't working. And something that, was brought up that I really wasn't giving much thought in the game. Jameis is playing with probably compression fractures. They didn't say exactly what type of fractures it was, but he's got fractures from L1 to L4. So 4 vertebrae in his back are broken, basically. And guys, throwing a football starts with your feet. Your spine is basically what keeps your entire body in alignment. And when I say you start with your feet, you kind of start any athletic move. Swinging a golf club, hitting a baseball, throwing a football starts with a kinetic chain. And a vital part of the kinetic chain is your back, your spine. And I don't know how. I can't imagine. I think it would be hard just to get up out of bed in the mornings, much less play quarterback in the NFL, throw the ball, and the immense amount of torque like you're putting on your body, on your torso when you're doing some of those football moves. And you even saw it, Peyton, when he would scramble and he would have a few yards that he could take, but he wouldn't do it. And I think he wouldn't do it because he didn't want to slide, and I don't blame him.
No.
But my thing is, Peyton, is if he can't throw accurately, and he can't move like he needs to. I know we don't have options, but maybe we need to go to the backup and let it be what it's going to be. It's not that I'm not calling for Andy Dalton because of Jameis's poor play. I think he probably just needs to rest. I mean, he's hurt. He's got 4 fractured vertebrae. That's a tough injury. I know people play through it, but I think I'm going to give Jameis the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say that play from last game was more about him being hurt than maybe him just being old Jameis, which Devin White, best player on the Bucs defense, came out and said, "Hey man, we knew who Jameis was and who he is, and we were licking our chops. We knew we were going to get turnovers. We knew he was going to throw us the ball." I hope he's wrong. It definitely has that feel to it. But another thing, man, Peyton, how much of this blame's got to sit on Carmichael? Because I just didn't see the intermediate routes. I didn't see the routes that get you first downs.
Well, I'm on to, I guess, not really answer the question, but just kind of throw this out there. And I know
you can tell I've been stewing on this for a while, Peyton.
Oh, I know, and I wish I was able to watch it in full totality, because I'm sure I'd have been stewing more and throwing stuff too in the house watching it. But few things that I take away. So I know Clay's argument was, well, Winston's 6-3. 6-3. Okay. Well, 5 of those wins was with Sean Payton as a head coach. Sean Payton's not there yet.
That's right.
2, he ain't
coming back.
And he ain't coming back. You now have a defensive-minded head coach. And I don't care if you got Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, whoever you have at quarterback. A defensive-minded head coach is going to play conservative on offense. I mean, that's how they are because they believe and trust in their defense. And, I know y'all are wanting, and I'm wanting too, but these dink and dunk passes, are they because we have a defensive-minded coach that's just don't turn the ball over, let's keep it close to the vest. Let's just see what we can do on that. Or is it because they really don't believe in Jameis themselves? And because I say that, the 5 games Sean Payton had Jameis as a starter before he got hurt last year, this is his 5 games. 20 passes, 21 passes, 21 passes, 23 passes, 30 passes, 35 passes. We're talking 20 passes for 148 yards, 21 passes for 111 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, am I reading something here? And
that Peyton, I brought that up on our preview show when we talked about the questions I had about Jameis. That was the stat that I brought up was, his play in those games and the dinking and dunking and the ineffectiveness. And Peyton, what I wanted to see out of that offense was like, give me some intermediate routes. Give me a deep out. Like, give me a 15 back to 12 comeback. Give me something where, give me some seam routes. Like, you don't have to, 30 plus yards down the field, I really don't care about. Like, those are cool, like, when they happen a few times a game, take some shots down the field, try to take the top off of a defense on 2nd and 1. I'm all for that. But, like, where you make your freaking money at is basically your mid-range jumper, to make a basketball reference. And it's like one or the other with the Saints. And, like, to me, it's like you're missing out on, you're eating the crust of the pie without getting to the main part of it, man. Like, I want the good stuff. And, I would like to see more of that. That's got to be a little bit on Carmichael. And Peyton, another thing, dude, that I think a lot of Saints fans are saying to themselves is like, where was Taysom at? He had a 13-yard rush. We were giving him heck on the ground for the most. And don't get me wrong, the Bucs have a very solid run defense, but dude, nobody's really stopped Taysom yet so far this season. Give him a couple more plays. I need to see him a little more, not necessarily at the quarterback position, but get him out there more. Chance brought up a good point in the main pod, and that's that Jawan Johnson's play has been so good at tight end. I think that has kind of cut down on Taysom's touches, which I agree. I don't know if you've noticed him, but the dude can catch a ball from the tight end position. I really like him.
He's becoming a very
solid
secret weapon for us. I agree. I'm a good big Jawan Johnson fan. He seems to always make plays when we need him. He's sure-handed catch guy. I think Chance is right. I think
he's a former receiver.
He is. He was a receiver for us 2 years ago. We moved him to tight end last year. He was a receiver when he was an undrafted free agent. We brought him in, and they kept and Sean Payton kept talking about him, how much he liked him, how much plays he was making, but he just never could make it at the receiver position. And they said we got to figure out a way to get him on the field. So they did. They just put some weight on him and moved him to tight end, and man, he's looking good at that position. I'm with you though. Last week Taysom went five carries for 82 yards, and then I saw that 13-yard run you're talking about, and I'm like, I'm looking through. I watched a lot of it, and then I'm looking through the box score as I couldn't watch it, and I'm like, what? I mean, you not want to try Taysom again just to kind of see what can happen? Like, I'm not saying run him 20 times, but
these defensive coordinators. These defensive coordinators are saying, "Man, I'm glad they didn't go back to that."
Oh, absolutely.
Another thing Taysom does, man, Taysom punishes defenders.
Yes.
Like, he punches back, and he punches hard. And, you know, I said this on the main pod, or maybe even in between pods, but I was telling him, I was like, dude, when you're playing defense and you're getting hit in the mouth every play by the running back, that's like a boxer taking body shots. I mean, it wears on you. And eventually, if you got a game that's in the trenches, like, somebody's going to break. It's either going to be the running back or the linebackers, you know. Somebody's going to give. And Taysom can do some damage to a defense. And, man, he's a great pass catcher, too. I would like to see him more on some drag routes, some seam routes, you know, something out of the backfield even. He's just, for one, he's an expensive weapon. And two, he's just a very unique, solid weapon. And let's face it, it may require a Sean Payton type of mind to utilize him.
Yeah. I do feel like, and can I say, which like I said, I didn't see it all, but man, where I feel like you miss Sean Payton out a lot is those 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 4s. I feel like our play calling is just, I always felt confident we'd get the first downs. And to me, I feel no confidence on those anymore. And obviously that's some of Jameis' fault too, but I don't know. I feel like you got Mike Thomas and Javar and Landry. Like, what are we doing? Like, those guys are there to make Winston better. Like, at some point, you gotta find a way.
That's exactly what I was telling the guys between the pods last night. I said, you gotta feel like Mike Thomas and Juice are in Winston's ear, like, bro, I got you.
Yes.
I'm your way out of this mess. Like, I'm your medicine. Like, get me the freaking rock.
Right.
Like, I'm here to help you, bro. Because we know those guys' ability, and we know they're possession guys. We know that, you know, they can get open early and often. And I didn't understand all the targets to Olave. I like Olave, but, like, it just wasn't what we needed at the time.
No, I'm not. I mean, in the state of Winston's right now game, trust the vets. Don't go to the rookie that you don't have much chemistry with. Like, try to get these vets. Because you know what? Landry and Thomas, it might not be a well-thrown ball, but they'll find a way to get it still. I mean, that's right. To me,
and
that's
one of those interceptions he threw, he passed over Mike Thomas.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. I mean, like, that's Winston, to me, the biggest fault of his, and this kind of goes with the deep 60-yard pass talk, his timing is not there on the routes. Like, he throws them late, in my opinion. He's not throwing them, you know, ahead of their schedule. They're having to wait. When they come out of the breaks, the ball's not there yet. I feel like there's so many timing issues, and I don't know if
and that was one point I tried to make with Clay and them last night. Is like, yeah, you can throw that route. You got to throw it sooner though. Yeah. You don't throw it after he's open and has the guy beat by 2 steps. You throw it before then.
That's right.
Like, that ball doesn't need to travel 60 yards down the field to be a touchdown. Like, he's got him burnt. Like, he's got his hips open. He's got the advantage. Throw it up there. Let him go get it and let him run.
The only reason that DB made that play because the ball was thrown right at him. Like, he didn't have to make a play for it. The ball was thrown behind him.
They were like Olave. They were like, Olave didn't defend. It was his fault. I'm like, what?
What? Olave was 2 steps out in front. He did what he was supposed to do. Winston, the ball come out late to begin.
Olave couldn't get back there.
You throw that ball in the back of the end zone. Like, you make Olave have to sprint as fast as he can to catch up with it. I mean that. Yeah, that.
If you're gonna throw it that late.
Yes, absolutely. Like, I mean that.
I will say, if you throw it to the back of the end zone, it's a 65-yard throw in the air. So, I mean, if you're going to throw it that late, it's got to be out front. And if you're going to miss, you miss long. You don't miss short.
Absolutely.
And But that, like you said, that ball has to come out a little earlier. And I'm gonna try to end on a positive note to complete my compliment sandwich here. And number one, I think we have a championship caliber defense. I think we got to do better at rushing the passer. That may be scheme. We'll see.
Hey, look, we're in week 2 though. We're in week 2 though, and so I'm not gonna say this and feel like this is my final answer. Are we seeing age catch up with Davis and Jordan?
For sure.
God.
Which, my argument on the pass rusher we let go to Cincinnati. I won't even mention his name for fear of, conjuring up some anger from the pod, but Trey Hendrickson. But I would have loved to seen some young talent that he might not have been, the prototype, but he's pretty good, especially opposite Cam. But I think you're right. I think some of that age is catching up, and it catches up with everybody. But still a solid defense, and we have all the potential in the world. Especially, I think our receiving core is dang good. It may not be the best in the league, but the only reason I can't say it's the best in the league because there's some guys putting up numbers in the NFL right now. Go look at Tyreek and Hill and Jalen Waddle, what they just did this week. But almost put up 200 yards each. But we're pretty good. We're pretty salty at receiver. I think we have, especially when Alvin Kamara comes back. My God, dude, what a monster on offense. If we can get this quarterback play together, you got AK. You've got
whose loss is not getting talked about enough.
Who?
AK's loss being out of this week and pretty much was not 100% the week before. That's a big difference maker for us right there that we've not had.
Yeah. He's one of the best playmakers in the league, bar none. And that can't go without mentioning. And that's why, for me, Peyton, yes, I'm going to be critical of whatever quarterback is back there. No, I'm not comparing them all to Drew Brees, but yes, in a way, like in the back of my mind, I'm sure it's there. Because we had it bad before Brees got there, then Brees got there, saved us, and now, it feels like dark days again. But I'm going to be critical of those guys. I want them to succeed like no other because, I just want the Saints to win. I want to see them play good football. I really don't want to waste the talent that's around because we haven't gotten the quarterback play together. But I think once we figure it out, I think Pete Carmichael needs to figure some things out on his play calling. But if we ever get in a rhythm, brother, we're going to be hard to stop.
No, and I believe that. I mean, I really do. I think we have the weapons. The offensive line, hopefully when we get Penning back in another month or so, it's going to be even better. I mean, Winston's the best you got. We don't have the Cincinnati Bengals Andy Dalton. I mean, Dalton's 34 years old. There's a reason why we got him for a 1 year, $3.5 million contract. I mean, he's not the young Andy Dalton. He's a great backup quarterback in the NFL. If Winston gets hurt in second quarter, I feel like Dalton could come in and finish the game off and give us a win. Can Dalton carry you 3 to 4 weeks? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like my chances.
I don't know. Yeah. I kind of wish we would have went and got Jimmy G. I don't know about you. Even Baker Mayfield, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. That's a hot take, but right now, and it's not necessarily part of it's Jameis's play, but I mean, Jameis is kind of injury prone.
Yes, very much so.
I mean, that's been his history.
Yeah.
Call it like it is. I mean, he's injury prone, and I don't know, brother. We'll see. It's only week 2. Got a lot of football left. We're 1-1. by the skin of our teeth. Kind of both ways. We could very easily be 2-0, could very easily be 0-2, but we've split the difference. So,
and I'll take it.
We'll see what it holds. Good news is our division sucks.
Yes.
So, there is a chance. There's always a chance.
I feel like,
that's all I got, brother.
Well, I mean, people got to realize, Brady's worst win percentage is in the month of September. September NFL doesn't really matter for the most part.
Look,
as long as you can get out of this month 500, you're fine. Like it's okay. Like let's make some adjustments. Let's get a Kamara back healthy, and see what happens in the next couple months after this month. But let's calm down. People also, in my opinion, I know Clay's been down on Tampa, and mostly because he doesn't believe in the offense anymore. And I know I think people sleep on Tampa Bay's defense. They have a really good defense, one of the best in the league, probably.
I'll tell you who doesn't sleep on them. And that's me after what they did to us in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Brady can say he took us out, but that was the defense that took us out.
Absolutely, yeah. Jared Cook don't fumble that ball in that playoff game. We win that ball game. But yeah, Tampa.
They sent Drew Brees to his career to the grave.
Yeah, that fumble did by thinking Jared Cook. But yeah, Tampa's got a really good defense with the dang Todd Bulls, behind it all. I really think people are sleeping on that defense, and it could have a lot of reasons why our offense was as bad as they did. But it's okay. We got Carolina coming up this week. We can get things back right. Carolina's 0-2 though, so they're going to be basically fighting for this season. You start out 0-3 in the NFL. Your percentages of making the playoffs are not good. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping. Surely Pete Carmichael's him and Peyton still talk, right? Surely Sean's calling him Pete, man, what are you doing? And I'm hoping DA's not stepping in because he's wearing a headset for a reason. At the end, it could be his final call on plays. I'm hoping DA's not getting conservative with it. I'm hoping he's letting Pete do his thing. But some things need to change.
Well, whoever's making the call on third and short is poo-poo.
Yes, I agree. And hey, every time I see Tony Jones touch the ball, he makes something happen. Why can't he get any more love with
That ain't no lie. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a bright spot.
I like him a lot, and he has some pop to him. He's got a little more juice than Ingram does. I don't mind Ingram running the ball some. He's still got some pop in him left. But man, Jones he just seems to always having a little spark when he gets the ball. I'd love to see him get some more touches. Give Kamara maybe another week off or so, get healed up, and go with him.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Division opponent, I'm ready to get AK back and turn it on. But, do they rest Jameis this week? I don't know.
For what I could tell, he didn't really take any big shots. So, I don't think.
Yeah, but I'm saying his accuracy wasn't there.
And you think it's affecting that's affecting. I get that. I believe that.
I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, Peyton. I'm struggling to, but I'm trying. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
it makes it hard, and I understand. But
man, I felt the same way Devin White did when we used to play him. It was like, hey man, it's Jameis time. Let's go get some turnovers.
No, absolutely. No, I agree with that. But I feel like we gotta dance with the girl we took to prom with. We're just gonna have to ride it out, and hopefully he's gonna learn from this and get better. You're sitting in a game like that. And, hey, also, he's human. It's 3-3. We're freaking third quarter and we're 3-3. He's a quarterback with weapons all around him. He's probably just as anxious and mad, aggravated as we are sitting in the recliners watching him, you know? Like, I think he was trying to make something happen.
Part of me thought he tried to do – yeah, he was trying to do too much at the end of that game, and I kind of wonder if after that fight he got a little emotional. And I didn't say this, Stephen A. Smith did, but he was like, I got you, boys, I got you. And then he kind of went out and did too much.
Right.
I don't know. I don't want to get in his head too much. He's an amazing talent at quarterback, but just hasn't put it together in the league. I mean, I feel bad for a guy who throws for 5,000 yards and has an awesome season and throws 30 interceptions. I mean,
right.
That hurts because it's like, man, I'm in the 5,000-yard club, but I did it and threw all these picks. So,
hey, and another thing, too, is just a little tidbit, I guess. First of all, I still haven't figured out why Bruce Arians was on the sidelines. But anyway, Bruce Arians coached Winston. So don't think he wasn't giving Todd Bowles some tips and pointers of what Jameis is good at, what he's not, what he doesn't, what makes him uncomfortable, different things like that too. You forget about little things, and
that may have been the whole reason why he was down there.
And it could very possibly be. Because I've never seen a guy that is in an office position be right there in the middle of the field, basically. But yeah, I mean, he was with Winston long enough that he knows all his tendencies and what he doesn't like. So that has a lot to do with it. When you got defense like Tampa does, they can make that happen, especially with the linebacking core they have.
Devin White is a monster.
Is a freaking monster. Shout out Spring Hill, Louisiana.
Yep. Forget you, Parker, and I'm gonna say it again. I didn't call him out once, but Parker, you're a punk for starting the Bucs defense against the Saints. I thought you were a Saints fan.
Yeah, that was about as low a blow as you can get.
Yeah, that's on you, Parker. Well, she probably ain't even listening.
No, but we ain't gonna never let him live it down, though.
No, I wait till I see him. But that's all I got, brother.
Yeah, same here, man. I'll be ready to watch both games this weekend, and hopefully I won't be. Me and you both will be a lot more in a better mood next Monday night after this weekend.
That's right. No doubt. Well, yeah. Who dat?
Go Tigers.
This ain't how it's supposed to be. It should be just you and me.